Latest race of the season then, and qualifying is split into 3 different doses, each of 10 minutes, and the first of those are for the LMGTE cars. 6 of them about to take to the track. So one thing is that you're going to have a fair bit of track to run at. Traffic won't be an issue in this category, but it's very tight to call heading into this session, Graham Goodwin, because all 6 teams capable of pole position.
Absolutely. 3 Ferraris, 3 Porsches make up the perfect half dozen. We can see it's not going to be Tracy Crone aboard the number 83 Crone racing car. So we'll wait and find out, is that Nick Jonsson? I think it might well be Nick Jonsson aboard the car. Is that Andrea Bertolini's helmet? Andrea Bertolini is aboard the 83. But 6 cars for this session, then it gets a bit busier for the 2 prototype sessions. But 10 minutes, Johnny Palmer, not a lot of time to impress, but oddly enough, tends to be plenty enough time to make a bit of a mess of it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the outlap's going to take best part of 2 minutes. That leaves you with 8 minutes or so to play with, assuming you get out right at the start of the session. Of course, there are wheels yet to be bolted on to cars. All of these cars run on Dunlop tyres, by the way. It is all Michelins in the LMP3s, but we have a real tyre battle in LMP2 between the French and traditional British rubber, I suppose, although Dunlop do have rather large factories in Germany, not too far away from here.
In fact, all the Dunlop race tyres now built, now made in Germany, though their logistical base is still in the UK. This is the 55 Spirit of Race Ferrari 488 GTE. Duncan Cameron, Matt Griffin and Aaron Scott form the crew for this one. It is Matty Griffin, Matteo Griffoni aboard this car. It's going to be, by the look of things, a full dry session after heavy rain in free practice this morning. That track looking to me now, Johnny, to be almost completely dry. Still a few damp patches for Michelin Le Mans Cup qualifying about an hour ago. But this should be 6 GT cars with top drivers banging heads.
Yeah, we've had the threat of a passing thunderstorm all day, really, but that's been yet to materialise. We did have rain earlier on this morning, but certainly for the next hour or so, 2% chance of precipitation, so very unlikely that these sessions will be affected by wet weather, and almost a constant stream of sunshine now, which is great to see. The temperature's been pretty high leading into this event, but ducking towards the low 20s for today and tomorrow. At the very last minute then, Dunlop tyres are now being attached to car 55 winners. Last time out in Monza.
Again, a request to the teams, please ensure that the driver which is in the monitors is the one which is sitting behind the wheel in the car. Let's not have wrong information, and turn on your RCNS, please.
That's the message from the race director, Eduardo Freitas, who always gives out kind of informative messages like that to make sure that the driver IDs are correctly configured.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit green. LMGT qualifying session has started.
So we're underway, and the first car in the queue, Andrea Bertolini, in that traditional Crone green racing colour, a very light green, almost to match the landscape here in the Styrian Alps. Plenty of rainfall throughout the course of this summer, which means that the grassy areas are still very, very green, unlike places in the UK now, which have become rather yellow with sustained sunshine. Not that I'm complaining, as 77 Porsche from Proton Competition now works its way out of what is a tight pit lane exit. You've got to be really pretty careful through there, particularly in the prototypes. You get up to speed far more quickly than you expect sometimes, and we have certainly the odd prang into the barrier on the driver's left there, not unknown in previous years, Graham.
Yeah, indeed we have. Dennis Olsen at the wheel of number 77 Proton Porsche, the 911 RSR. All 3 of the cars, the Porsche cars here, of the most recent mid-engined 911 RSR variant. So it's Dennis Olsen in that car. In the sister 88 car, it is Matteo Caroli. Both of those men making their return to the team after missing the last round because of the clash with the Nürburgring 24 Hours and being required on duty for Porsche. Out comes the 66 car, last one of the cars out onto track. That's the GMW Motorsport car. It's Miguel Molina. So the full lineup as the cars go around on their opening lap or their out lap. Matt Griffin in the 55 Spirit of Race car. It's Miguel Molina in the GMW Motorsport car, back now after WeatherTech colours at Le Mans in its a Bugatti Type 46 inspired livery, the yellow livery, the 66 car. 77 Proton, Dennis Olsen. It's Ricardo Pera, who I seem to recall was on pole position. Was it Paul Ricard?
Yeah, I think it was. I will go back and check that now that you've said.
No, I've said it. I think it was Monza, Ricardo Pera in the number 80 EB Motors car. Last race with this Porsche. Their new Porsche arrives in time for Silverstone. Krone Racing, we've already said, is in the hands of Andrea Bertolini, the number 83 car. And finally, the 88 Proton competition car is in the hands of the mercurial Matteo Caroli. 7 minutes and 40 seconds remain.
Yeah, and as far as the championship is concerned, in the teams coming into this round, the 66 JMW Motorsport crew top the championship table, 37 points after their victory at Paul Ricard. They finished 4th in Italy, and they lead by 6 points from the EB Motors number 80 car after 2 third places for the Italian crew. And then Proton competition are 3rd and 4th in the championship. 88 leads 77, but it's nicely bunched at the moment because we've only had 2 of 6 races, and plenty of racing then still to come. 1 ELMS race per month pretty much now to the end of the season.
Are we going to get a first Ferrari pole of the 2018 European Le Mans Series, or is it going to be a 3rd Porsche pole position? 2 Ferraris come to cross the line. Not quite knows to tell. Bertolini and Griffin, 83 from 55. They will be the first 2 to complete a flying lap and do so. It's a 1:29.5 for Matt Griffin. Pips Andrea Bertolini by just under a tenth. The 1:29.580 is the mark to beat.
And just to answer your question from a little while ago, you're right, it was Monza. Pera, Narak and Babini with a pole position.
There was Pera in the car.
Okay, during the time.
On a very wide from which of the 2? That's the 88 car. It is Matteo Caroli.
So a slightly unusual error, but Cairoli probably pushing the car deliberately on an outlap to find where the limit is at Rindt corner, and he knows now that he can't push quite as hard next time around, unless it was merely cold tyres that were the issue. Matt
Griffin has had his provisional pole time deleted for track limits. The number 80 car has had its time deleted for track limits. Andrea Bertolini, therefore, in the Krone Racing car, is currently on provisional pole, 41 thousandths of a second ahead of the Miguel Molina pedal JMW Motorsport car. So 1:29.6 plays 1:29.7, plays 1:29.9, plays another 1:29.9, with the other 2 cars having set times in the 1:29s and having lost those track limits. It's going to be enormously close.
Yeah, and generally speaking, the younger drivers, the professional drivers being sent out, and Andrea Bertolini, still a very young 44 years old, the Italian, having raced Maseratis in the past, and I think is unique in the fact that he's tested virtually every version of a Formula 1 Ferrari car in its initial phase and during the official test days as well.
Well, more particularly because he's the official test driver for the Ferrari Corsa Cliente, so when those cars make their way into private hands, it's Andrea that does the shakedown testing and the testing post service and rebuilds for the cars. So he's driven a phenomenal number of Ferrari Formula 1 cars. Matteo Caroli, by the way, goes through to complete that lap and goes to provisional pole position by all of 0.149 of a second. The whole field now having put a lap in, as Marta Ferrari, the piercing blue eyes of Marta Ferrari, within 0.6 of a second of each other. Molina now up into pole position again, the number 66 Ferrari. The 83 of Bertolini, meanwhile, shuffled back to 3rd. The chrome green car, but he's on a flying lap now. Don't think will improve.
Just over the rise out of turn 8, which is Forst Alpine, and then into Rindt corner, named after the great Jochen Rindt, of course, then through Red Bull Mobile, the final corner on the track. Some track maps label it as 10 corners, others 9, interestingly. It depends whether you count that little kink at the top of the hill into Remus, which on my track map is numbered turn number 2. So Remus at the top of the hill, turn 3, and that first bit of the lap really so important because you're climbing at such a rate of knots.
He did improve his time, but not his position, and moved to within a hundredth of a second of Matteo Caroli. Dennis Olsen moves up to 4th position. Bertolini, meanwhile, and that must be because laps have been deleted. Bertolini moved briefly up to second, has moved back to third. Cairoli back into second position.
Well, both Proton competition Porsches have had laps taken away, their third laps deleted, and the 55 Ferrari has had its fourth lap deleted, all because of the abuse of track limits.
So we did see the 88 running wide. I was surprised that lap stayed. It ultimately didn't, but in the time it took them to delete the lap, he's put another one in and has gone second, just 29 thousandths off the provisional pole position time of Miguel Molina, who just edges it out ever so slightly. It is 96 thousandths of a second now, 98 thousandths of a second now, the gap, but Cairoli is going a lot quicker on this lap. 2.5 minutes remain.
Yeah, and it is the 29-year-old Spaniard Miguel Molina who is the fastest so far for the squad that won Paul Ricard at the start of the year, and are just about, but have been, still just about championship leaders on the back of that, with Proton competition. Second fastest with Matteo Cairoli. Andrea Bertolini, though, deciding to pit on this lap. The 83 Chrome Racing Ferrari is in the pit lane, and they're doing tyres, so newer Dunlop tyres going on all four corners, it would appear. Remember, there is a limit to the number of mechanics you can put across the white line. More improvements. This is Molina going faster again on his fourth lap, a 1:28.827.
Cairoli has pitted. This is very late to be effecting a tyre change. He's not going to get that car round, surely, to complete another flying lap. It's going to be very tight indeed. Matt Griffin, meanwhile, is in trouble. He's had every flying lap deleted for track limits. He currently sits without a time. So it's busy time at the moment in race control. It's taken them some time to get to the backlog. Matteo Cairoli, meanwhile, they are putting tyres on. That car simply will not get round to complete a flying lap.
But a real up and down season so far for Matt Griffin and his teammates Aaron Scott and Duncan Cameron, winning in Italy but not finishing the race at Le Castellet. They want to get back into the leading point scorers, obviously, this weekend, but this is going to be very, very tricky now for the man from Cork, and there's only a minute to go, so it's going to be so tight for Andrea Bertolini, as you make the point, Graham.
Right, well, Andrea Bertolini is making his way around as quickly as he possibly can to try to get a final flying lap in. Matt Griffin has now set a time, and indeed, as I speak, sets another one and goes third quickest with his latest lap. The entire field separated by 0.539 of a second at the moment, and both of the cars propping that up, the 77 and 80 cars, are going quicker this time around.
96 thousandths of a second is the gap between Molina and Cairoli, with Matt Griffin now up to third fastest, assuming he gets to keep that sixth lap of the session. There's no indication that that will be stripped from him, although the 66 all over the curbs there, coming through Forst Alpine and then over the brow and into Rint Corner. And that is Miguel Molina, the co-championship leader with Alex McDowell and with Liam Griffin. No relation to Matt, by the way, as the checkered flag is displayed now. And the 66 Ferrari then will end its session as the Spaniard Molina goes over the line. Does he improve? No. So his best time is a 1:28.827. Will that be good enough? It's just a tenth of a second as a cushion.
Well, that said, that lap was a 1:28.848, so mightily close to improving his time. Matteo Cairoli does not improve, goes through quickest. He's gone in the third sector. It's not enough. So that's the end of the session for the top two at the moment. Matt Griffin is out there, but not going quickly enough to trouble pole position. Could he move up a place? We'll wait and see. It's a 1:29.190 at the moment. Ricardo Pera, currently propping up the order, is going quicker on this lap. He could actually do something. Andrea Bertolini did make it through and will be able to complete a flying lap, and is going pretty quickly.
So Chrome Racing had timed that perfectly. They needed to be very, very sharpish with the tyre change, and now Andrea Bertolini with virtually brand new Dunlop rubber.
Watch Bertolini. This is a quick lap. He certainly could go ahead of Matt Griffin. Could he do something spectacular in the dying moments here?
Ricardo Pera over the line first and doesn't improve. It's a 1:29.4 for the 19-year-old, but here comes Bertolini to complete the lap, and he goes third. So to the second row, the Chrome Racing car driven by the Italian, and there's a round of applause down at JMW Motorsport. They lead the championship coming into this third race of the year by a relatively slim margin of 6 points, while you can now make that 7 because you get a point for pole position, and that goes the way of Alex McDowell, Liam Griffin and Miguel Molina. And
a first pole position for Ferrari in the European Le Mans Series this year, courtesy of JMW, the JMW for Jim McWhirter, and the fabulous looking number 66 Ferrari 488. As I said earlier in the broadcast, Jim commissioning that livery based on, I think, one of the dream cars of his life, the Bugatti Type 46. Great stuff from all concerned there. So it does end with the 6-car field separated by just over half a second and the top 2 separated by just under a tenth.
And as you say, the Porsche started very strongly indeed this year. The Porsche that was run as a works effort last year, the rather controversial at the time reconfiguration of the engine and gearbox alignment, so no longer on this current GTE Porsche does the engine hang out beyond the rear axle. It's now sort of sitting on top of it with the gearbox rearward of that. That means that a much larger diffuser can be attached to the Porsche. It gets much better downforce and can therefore take the fight to, well, within the World Endurance Championship, manufacturers like Ferrari and Aston Martin and others. BMW, of course, this year.
You forgot the best bit.
Go on.
It sounds fantastic.
It sounds superb, yes. It's still that 4-litre flat 6, of course, and yeah, I mean, almost painful to listen to if you get too close, but to get a stream of them across the line at the same time, a joy to listen to. It's at nearly a tenth of a second, just under in fact, between the 66 JMW Motorsport, then first for Ferrari pole for the year, and the Proton Competition number 88 car second fastest. In third position, the Krone Racing Ferrari, Andrea Bertolini leaving it late. He was only 0.140 of a second slower, and very, very tight for the rest of the places. Well, I know no more, to be honest, about who's likely to win tomorrow's race. It's a 4-hour affair, and the 6 GTE cars will be duelling amongst themselves.
LMP3 cars may now be pushed to the working lane.
I'm slightly concerned about the 55 Ferrari, though, that is now has come to a halt at the end of the pit lane and might just be waiting for its opportunity to get into Parc Fermé, actually.
Yeah.
Although the Porsche is being wheeled the wrong way out of Parc Fermé, and perhaps Matt Griffin is receiving instruction about where he needs to put his 55 Ferrari. Yeah, the marshals are there, and actually Matt's moved further up now, so it's not that he's stalled and got maybe an electrical glitch.
Neither is he trying to just sneak out and get some more laps in, but
well,
it is Parc Fermé, you're right, to just at pit out.
Yeah.
LMP3 it will be next. This is going to be fast and furious, a lot busier a track to be playing with.
We can get an opportunity, though, to speak to the fast Spaniard, Miguel Molina, who managed to set the fastest time in the JMW Motorsport Ferrari. Miguel now joins Charlie George in the pit lane.
Well, Miguel, congratulations. First pole of the season for JMW and indeed for Ferrari.
Yeah, actually, really good qualifying for me. Was clear, smooth, and I was alone in the track, so actually the conditions were perfect and the car was feeling good. So we were working this morning to see with the weather forecast changing conditions. So it was raining, now it's dry, so the car felt pretty good, so we'll see tomorrow, but starting from pole position is always a good sign.
A couple of the other Ferrari teams pitted for new tyres. What are the grip levels out there?
I don't know. I mean, we had clear strategy to use only one set of tyres, and I knew from the past, I was racing here in DTM, so I knew that this track is better to stay out and keep going with the tyres, because the fuel effect and the track is not so aggressive with the tyres, so you can even gain some time there. So at the end it paid back, so it was good to be in pole.
Thank you, well done.
Thank you.
Excellent question there from Charlie, an excellent answer from Miguel Molina. These guys at the top of their game use every drop of experience they can squeeze out of every racing opportunity, and beautifully expressed there by Miguel. And he's becoming a firm part of this Ferrari GT family.
Yeah.
Of course, moved up to the pro car, the third pro car for the Le Mans 24 Hours, and I think we'll be seeing a lot more of that young man as time moves on. The LMP3 cars, meanwhile, start to queue up at the end of pit lane. 6 of them there so far, led by the number 15 RLRM Sport car. Still awaiting the tyres, the AT Racing car, number 9. We're seeing in action in the Thursday race of the Road to Le Mans. Did not take part in the pre-Le Mans 24 Hours Saturday morning 55-minute race for a very unusual reason.
Which was, Graham?
Which was that Alexander Telkanitsa Jr. and his father, also Alexander Telkanitsa, had to go to a wedding.
Is that right?
That's absolutely correct.
So even though they were at the circuit and had obviously spent a lot of time getting to the track and getting the car in and getting it prepped for Le Mans, they just left partway through the week, basically, for other commitments.
I gather it was a free bar.
Oh, okay. All becomes clear.
Absolutely.
After we unearth the real reason. Telkanitsa, I think Telkanitsa Jr., I'm pretty sure, is resident here in Austria. And, of course, AT Racing, technically speaking, are an Austrian team, so they're at their home event.
Absolutely, albeit operated by AF Corsa. Pointing out here, by the way, the gorgeous new colour scheme for the Team Oregon, Norma. Now in this kind of pearlescent metallic rainbow colours. Looks a lot more pleasing to the eye than it's pretty much the same colours, but a rather different finish. United Autosports, and one of their pair, that's the number 2 car. Number 2 Ligier, and that will therefore be the number 3 in the mix again.
Now this is the category, remember, that will probably do 3 stops during the race, 2 of which have to be done to a minimum pit stop time, which I found this out ahead of the race this weekend, 75 seconds.
Right.
So 1 minute and 15 is the magic number that you cannot be quicker than, and then the 3rd stop, whether you choose to take that at the start or the end of the race or the middle, indeed, it doesn't really matter, but you have to do
it quickly
2 minimum pit stops, and then the 3rd one is as quick as you like. Yeah.
So if, as I know a number of people looking in and listening in actually do, also follow with timing and scoring, you can keep a track of the way that the reality of the LMP3 race is going by just checking out as these cars pit tomorrow in the 4-hour race that we've got to come around this fabulous circuit, where these teams are burning those longer pit stops, because that does come back into play.
LMP3 qualifying sessions. Any lap which we see ourselves or which is reported by the judges of fact as having been done abusing track limits will be immediately deleted.
And Eduardo and his team have previous form in doing that without any hesitation at all. We had that in the GTEs, we had it in the earlier session today for the Michelin Le Mans Cup as well, in their 2 15-minute sessions. So there are very rarely any mitigating circumstances for track limits.
360 Racing, another team with just a 2-driver lineup here, once again. Very handsome looking Ligier with the revised colour scheme this year, really suits the car. And a number of cars featuring some revised colours. We'll see more of them in the LMP2 stakes in just 2 minutes' time.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is open for LMP3 qualifying session. Please remind drivers the need of respecting track limits.
10 minutes starts to count down. It's been a good season for 360 Racing. They're 2nd in the championship at the moment, with a 4th place at Ricard and a 2nd place at Monza, so right in the championship hunt in the early stages.
And a lot of that is down to the fact that some of the real form cars have hit trouble in at least one of the races so far this season. Some reasonably large changes in this field this weekend. The Nefis by Speed Factory team, the number 5 car. There'll be news about this team later this weekend of a positive nature.
Yeah, with their Russian and Ukrainian combination of drivers.
Yep.
And most in that team, pretty young guys as well. Timur Boguslavsky, just 18 years old. And Daniel Pronenko is another young kid from the single-seater world.
2 of the slightly older gentlemen in the LMS paddock. John Falb, I think, on the right-hand side with George, just briefly, and Jacques Nicolet, the patron of Ligier, of course, and Jacques take a fine win at the Le Mans Classic at the final corner through the Ford chicane in his Duckens special. In the Le Mans Classic just a couple of weeks ago, it's RRM Sport in that one of the cars that Nicolet's onward concern builds. This will be Job van Utrecht, I'm sure. It is in the 15 car.
Yep, sharing again with Rob Garofal and with John Ferrano. So John's got a busy day, well, today and tomorrow really, with Michelin Le Mans Cup to concentrate on, a race later today, and also qualifying for ELMS, plus a 4-hour race tomorrow, although he won't do it all, of course. So Sean Rahal in the number 2 car, Matt Bell is in the number 3, that's the United Autosports lineup. It's Antonin Borger for Cool Racing in car number 4, and in the Nefis by Speed Factory car, Alexei Chuklin, the Ukrainian and Russian driver, holds dual nationality. Ross Kaiser for 360 Racing, Colin Noble in the Ikuria Kos car number 7. In the 8 car for DKR Engineering, it is Ricardo Sanchez, the Mexican. Mikael Jensen, who's been a race winner in Michelin Le Mans Cup earlier on in the year, but back to ELMS now for the Dane in the AT Racing squad. Oregon going with Ponzio. Euro International, Giorgio Mondini Championship leader, Dromedari's in the other car, Kuba Schmichowski for Inter Europol in their number 13. It's Paul Scheusner in the 14 car. Job van Uitert we've mentioned. Draconi's driving the BHK Motorsport car number 16. Mathieu Lehay in the number 17. And for M Racing, the 18 car, Nathan Biel and Lucas Legeret, who I think is the youngest driver in this the race this weekend, just 17 years old, Luca Legeret.
Well, that's going to be interesting, because I think they've also got the oldest, because a late addition to the number 19 is Alain Furté,
yes,
the 1979 French Formula Renault champion, back in action this weekend.
Fantastic.
Oddly enough, in a paddock that features the current European Formula Renault Championship. 62 years young. Job van Uitert, by the way, goes to the top of timing and scoring, a 1:27.770, 9/10 quicker than Lucas Legeret, just mentioned by Johnny Palmer, in the number 19 M Racing Weimar car, and he is shuffled down just a tad by Matt Bell, storming along just a quarter of a second off that provisional pole from Job van Uitert. Matt Bell in the number 3 United Autosports car heads now a 2-3 for United, with Sean Rahal just slotting in. We'll let this group just stream on through, but looks at the moment as if young Mr. van Uitert was going to, well, keep that, but Ricardo Sanchez gets and then immediately loses a lap for abusing track limits.
Along with the 14 and 13 cars, so both Inter Europol competition machines have laps deleted for the opening flying lap, effectively, as the number 8 DKR Engineering car, very different colour scheme from that in the Michelin Le Mans Cup. So remember, it's all green for the ELMS DKR Engineering squad, with Ricardo Sanchez, Henning Enqvist and Fabien Leverne being the drivers.
Up to second in timing and scoring as we watch the number 17 Ultimate Norma goes Antonin Borger. He is 0.756 of a second off the time of van Uitert, and that's because Job van Uitert has put in another improvement. He's down into the 1:27.0s. Borger got to within a tenth of the young Dutchman, but now it is shuffled back on the timing, not in terms of position. The top 4 at the moment separated by 0.8 of a second.
So Matt Bell, a great time, a 1:27.3 to go second. Sean Rahal just tucked in behind, but there goes Giorgio Mondini across the line to go briefly third fastest. Now already down to fourth fastest because Mathieu Lehay's gone through in the red and white Ultimate car. Big wiggle there from Mathieu as well, coming out of the first corner at OMV. Kept hold of the car nicely though, and the Ultimate crew, who are always there or thereabouts, now up to second fastest behind Job van Uitert's time.
Only 4.5 minutes remaining. These short 10-minute sessions, remember, come around very, very quickly. It's 2/10 back for Mathieu Lehay. Also 2/10 back, Matt Bell, and Ricardo Sanchez puts in finally a quick time. Giorgio Mondini still half a second back from the provisional pole of the number 15 RLR Sport car.
Order shuffling all the time, and the 15 car's now been bettered because Antonin Borger's gone through for Cool Racing with their number 4 Ligier JSP3. The time is a 1:26.751, and that means it's quicker than Job van Uitert's effort by 0.3 of a second. Mikkel Jensen, though, finds room to squeeze between Borger and Job van Uitert. So now the margin is 0.2 of a second between Cool Racing car 4 and the AT Racing entry number 9.
The top 11 cars within 0.9 of a second of each other. but it's all about who can, in the last 3.5 minutes of the session, better the time of Antonin Borger. It is a Ligier 1-2-3, Cool Racing, AT Racing, RRM Sport. Before we get to, it's now 1-2-3. Bettered though by Mathieu Lehay, sorry, losing my words. Ultimate comes through second position, 0.205 of a second. It is getting awfully tight at the top of the timing and scoring, Johnny Palmer.
You can be sixth one moment, as Mathieu Lehay was, and second the next, and yeah, that buys you 2 further rows. He will start as it stands alongside Antonin Borger's car, but 0.2 of a second is the margin. Ligier and the Norma represented then on that front row of this LMP3 field, but there are still 3 minutes to go, and virtually every car in the field is getting quicker and quicker. We have one purple time, that's set by Borger last time around, so he's improved as well, and virtually every other car showing blue times, which means they are personal bests. That was a wide moment coming through turn 6 for, not sure which car that was actually, many liveried in that sort of paint scheme. We might be able to work it out from the latest lap times, but Mikkel Jensen now to the top for AT Racing. The Austrian squad, Austrian flagged at the very least, at their home race, and car 9 is now quickest.
Van Uttert improves time but not position, stays third. Colin Noble sweeps up the timing of scoring from 11th up to 5th in the number 7 Courier Cost Nielsen car, another car with a revised paint scheme this weekend. A 1:27.1 is 7/10 of a second off the provisional pole. Jensen has 3.5 tenths though over Antonin Borger. All of the top 4 though going quicker on this current lap.
2 minutes to go, and yep, Jensen quickest last time around, but even better sector 1 times coming through now, including for Mathieu Lehay in the red and white Ultimate car. Mathieu currently 4th fastest behind Mikkel Jensen in car 9, Antonin Borger in number 4, and Joop van Uttert, this man, heading out of Lauder corner now and through Forst Alpine, over the slight rise, into the trees, and now down towards Rint corner goes Joop van Uttert. Any changes in the top 5, at least for this portion of the lap, but all the key players are circulating together, so you get a very, very busy sort of 30 seconds or so as people stream across the line. Joop van Uttert goes second fastest with a 1:26.7, so the gap now to the fastest time set by Mikkel Jensen is just under 0.3 of a second. Borger's 3rd fastest, Mathieu Lehay for Ultimate is 4th quickest, and then Luca Leggeret for M Racing YMR all the way up to 5th fastest in car 19.
Yeah, and he just improved 2 or 3 places with that lap, a 1:26.971. We've still got the top 9 cars within 8 tenths of a second of each other. It is still though, with 40 seconds left on the clock, a 3/10 of a second advantage for Mikkel Jensen, the AT Racing number 9 Ligier. It's Ligier, 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 then the first 2 Normas, and Colin Noble in another Ligier. Mathieu Lehay makes a liar of me again though. He goes second. It's just a 10th in it now with 25 seconds still to run. 1:26.5 puts in 0.111 of a second off Mikkel Jensen, who is going quicker again. But Lucas Leggeret puts in a purple sector on his last first sector of the session, as we've got a yellow flag at turn 1. Anybody starting a lap now is going to be... no, they're not, because the green flag flies again. The checkered flag is now out. Final lap of the session, therefore, for the 2 cars on screen. That is the number 7 of Colin Noble. He will be 7th at the moment. Cool Racing's Antonin Borger stays 4th. The 14 into Europol car, and that was the 17 car. It's Mathieu Lehay pushing very hard in pursuit of pole position, and clearly I'm afraid that's gone for him now.
Well, he got up to 2nd fastest, realised he needed to find a little bit more, which was a 10th of a second. You could just see how hard he was pushing. Luca Leggeret now up to 3rd fastest as he crosses the line in car number 19. So Leggeret, just about the youngest man in this qualifying session, has been working his way up the timing and scoring screen. 3rd fastest is the best he's going to get to. Mikkel Jensen is over the line to see the checkered flag as well. Mathieu Lehay, we know, is going to be slow on this lap, so who are we left with? Ricardo Sanchez could yet improve in the number 8 car for DKR Engineering.
Yeah, he's off the pace. Sean Mayhall improves after what's been a quiet session for the number 2 United Autosports car, but he piles up the order, but can finish no better than 8th. It's the AT Racing car for Mathieu Lehay in the number 17 Ultimate car. That car will not improve on this lap. Then Lucas Leggeret, then Van Uttert, Borger, Sanchez, who doesn't improve in pits, Ponzio, Rahal, Noble and Bell are your top 10. AT Racing in the Ligier takes pole position from the Ultimate Norma. Second Norma comes home in the number 19 M Racing YMR car, and then Vanutia completes the second row in the number 15 RLRM Sport Ligier.
Well, frenetic 10 minutes, as it always is really in the LMP3 category, and you get so many different cars having a turn, certainly topping the times, but I mean, I must go back to have a look at the Alcamel details to find out how many different cars we had in the top 3 at any one moment, because it will have been several of them. And a pole position then for Mikkel Jensen and his team, and congratulations to a team that's no stranger to a pole position, certainly having been there in the past. I'll have to check the record to see whether we've ever seen an AT Racing car in pole position in Austria, but something tells me they like this track. 2.6 miles, it's very short, but obviously climbs to a great height heading up towards Riemers Corner and then tumbles back down through Rauch and into corners like Lauda, Rindt and Red Bull Mobile, and the two Taukanitsas will be very, very happy about that indeed. In fact, Alexander Taukanitsa Jr. will celebrate his 29th birthday on Monday, so that is an early birthday present for him after great work from Mikkel Jensen in car number 9.
Mikkel Jensen is going to be a name we're going to be hearing a lot more of, I am sure. Already has attracted the attention of many, and I believe he's a BMW Junior driver this year. Yeah, so
certainly a very impressive Dane who has found a home with the AT Racing crew and very much enjoys racing with the two Belarusians. So, oh, by the way, going back to the GT.
I kindly ask all LMP3 teams to clear the pit lane as soon as possible, as we need to put the other cars in the working line. So LMP3 teams, please clear the pit lane immediately. The cars which have to go to scrutineering, I assume they should be already there. All the other cars inside their garage under Parc Fermé regulations.
Staggering statistic from Matt Fernandez in the press room. Which I have to say is a massive surprise to me, that is the first pole position in the ELMS for JMW since Hungaroring in 2013.
Wow.
I'm staggered if that's true.
You want to see Matt's working out, don't you?
I do. I want to see that
statistic. By the way, I say AT Racing no stranger to pole positions. They managed to get 3 of them last year at Silverstone, Spa and Portimao, but missed out on Red Bull Ring. So this is a first here in the Styrian Mountains. Congratulations then to AT Racing for taking pole position by a very small amount indeed, just a 1/10 of a second. And if the LMP3 battle is the precursor to similar shenanigans in LMP2, then we're in for a real treat when 18 LMP2 cars are released onto this circuit at the Red Bull Ring, spanning 3 manufacturers, of course, the Orica, the Ligier and the Dallara, but Orica generally looking faster whichever track we go to, but Ligier could pull off a surprise during this session. It would be a real shock if Dallara managed to do it, but you never know. Let's get some reaction there before we get to the P2s from the LMP3 session with Charlie George.
Well, Mikkel, congratulations. First pole of the season for AT Racing. How was that session?
It was not that easy. I didn't put my lap 100% together. We have done a lot of setup changes for this weekend, so I have to adapt to it as a driver. But somehow the car was just driving on rails in my one lap, so I was surprised that I was still first when I heard it on the radio.
Special for the team, being the home race for them too?
Yeah, it's great. The Taukanitsas, they love this race. It's their favorite track. They live in Vienna, so I think this is the place to do the pole. I hope we can get more this season, but it's at least a good start.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good to see a happy Mikkel Jensen, a star of the present and more so, I'm sure, in the future, Johnny. But, well, we're about to see the 18 LMP3s put back in the gun rack, while the howitzers that are the LMP2s are wheeled out onto pit lane. 600 horsepower of Gibson V8 4.2 litre loveliness in the rear of every single one of them, and this is going to be a bit special.
Now, Monza, which is a race meeting I wasn't at, proved to be a little bit of a game of survival, did it not, in LMP2?
It was good fun.
It was good fun. No, I've watched it back.
Yeah, it's you know, we managed to get a replacement in for you, mate, at the last minute.
Some bloke called Brundle.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think
Never heard of him.
I think it was the younger one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was his dad there that weekend?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. Yeah, no, you two did a very good job. But what I noticed was quite a lot of safety car.
Yes.
Quite a lot of yellows.
Yes.
And 1 or 2 damaged LMP2 cars, sadly. But it is beautiful weather now this afternoon in Austria. We've had to wait for this because there was rainfall this morning in free practice 2 for the ELMS cars, badly affected by that, with 1 or 2 cars falling off the road and into the gravel. They've all been repaired though now, thankfully.
Confirmed by none other than Jeff Carter, the media delegate for the ELMS, that it was indeed JMW's first pole position in the ELMS since the Hungaroring in 2013. I was much younger then.
I believed Matt Fernandez. I didn't need it to be backed up, but anyway, thank you, Jeff, for that information. And we've got to wait a few minutes now before the 10 minutes of LMP2 session can officially tick by. This session is due to start at 20 past the hour, but the very, very large Red Bull, which kind of guards a one pitch and putt golf golf course.
Hole.
Not really a course, is it?
Golf hole.
It's got a bunker.
Yes.
And 1 hole. And several of the drivers were having fun and games there, and a little media, social media arrangement. When was that? Thursday afternoon. Yep. And funnily enough, a certain Jean-Eric Verne, I understand, was the winner, and he's sort of in winning form at the moment.
I'm sure he didn't go on about that at all.
No.
I'm sure he didn't rub that in any way, shape or form.
Well, not only is he French, so obviously victorious in the World Cup, the Soccer World Cup. I've heard that on the grapevine. And also winning Formula E last weekend, no less. So Jean-Eric Verne, this weekend driving once more with the G-Drive squad. And he doesn't actually lead the championship because he wasn't with Andrea Pizzitola and Roman Rusinov for the first race of the year.
No, he wasn't.
At Le Castellet. So therefore, can't be, assuming he stays with the 26 all year, can't be the ELMS champion because Pizzitola and Roman Rusinov are always going to be that one step ahead. Yep,
absolutely. But counting down now until this 10-minute session for these cars. There's the number 24 car. Winner, first time out for the Racing Engineering squad out of Spain. Fabulous bunch of people coming out of F2 and GP2. And already a train of cars at the end of pit lane. Already can see, by the way, the high-class racing car with new yellow highlights will help us.
1 minute to open pit lane. Under 1 minute to open pit lane.
And at the back of that train, the rather darker blue this time out for Settelal Valorba Corsa. So you and I, JP, will be struggling a little less to tell the difference between the two Dalaras, and I've struggled all year with it.
Always good news. Radically different cars is very useful to me.
Graf Racing, 39 car, heads to join the train. Headed by number 30. This is actually high-class racing spare car, that Dalara there. New no section on the number 40 car, 2-driver squad for this the Graf Racing operated G-Drive livery car. Had an off in the free practice session this morning, a rather wet affair into the barrier, and James Allen.
10 seconds to go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is green for LMP2 qualifying session. Please remind drivers of the need to respect track limits.
Third and final qualifying session then here at the Red Bull Ring is underway for the European Le Mans Series. The grid is set for LMGTE, it is set for LMP3, but 18 LMP2s now working their way out on track. We've got drama already with a wheel bouncing its way now to driver's right off the back of the high-class racing car. So that cannot have been attached properly to the 49 machine, and it's going to have to turn right to the shortcut here at Red Bull Ring. This is the shortened version of the track, and the wheel is almost following it like it's been trained to do so. So thankfully it is finding its way around that cambered right-hand bend, and if Anders Fjordbach slows up enough, the wheel might even reattach itself. How bizarre was that, though? That's just, I'm sure, a bit of oversight from the team.
He did pretty well there, because that would have been a point. He must have felt something going.
Yes, yes, and the wheel wasting no time at all in coming unattached and then trying desperately to catch the car up again, even to the extent that it turned the corner. That's brilliant.
Yeah, we'll meet again.
But a brand new Dunlop tyre for the high-class racing car. The stick is still visible indeed. And the details of that tyre that is manufactured in Germany, so not a million miles away from where we are this weekend. And now Anders Fjordbach is virtually at the end of the lap. He's done a good job here and hopefully hasn't damaged the brake disc. But there is a message on the screen, Graham, relating to that car.
Yes, reported to the stewards for an unsafe release. That will be, of course, because finger trouble by the looks of things.
It's a front right tyre, so even more credit to Anders Fjordbach because he's managed to steer the car all the way around this 10-corner circuit. I know you come into the pit lane just before turn 10, but one wheel on the front of that car is basically steering, and the wheel is still going.
It can make its way back. If you wait just a little wee while, he can put it back on.
Yeah.
But it is still going.
Wait for me. It'll appear at the pit lane entry in a minute.
That is still rolling after now 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Well, this is endurance racing, Graham, at the end of the day. So the tyres are well used to a lengthy stint.
Well,
I've never seen something quite as amazing as that, though, a tyre actually able to turn a corner when it's off the car. So they're now going to assess whether it's a fault with the hub or whether it was operator error, but a brand new Dunlop tyre has been sourced.
We're going to find out in about 3 seconds, aren't we?
Yes, true.
Meanwhile, back on track, and already almost 3 minutes gone of this session. No caution required, by the way, for that, because, of course, Anders managed to take the shortcut, as did the wheel. The session well underway, and we're waiting for the first flying lap times to come. Philippe Chatin. The other thing, by the way, we didn't mention, which is well worth keeping an eye on, is this has been from the very start of the season a tyre battle, particularly in qualifying, with the Michelin runners finding real speed this year. And indeed, it's Philippe Chatin in the number 28 EDEX Sport car. That was pole position at Le Mans, wasn't it, that car? 120.028, 8 tenths of a second quicker than the number 39 Graf car at the moment, second fastest in the hands of Tristan Gondy. Felipe Nasra in the quickest, the Dalaras so far, that's the Settelov Valour Course 47 car. Felipe Albuquerque in the Ligier, number 22, fourth fastest. So the 3 different chassis in the top 4 just at the moment, separated by 1.7 seconds. That gap is going to come down, no doubt about that.
So 28 fastest, Philippe Chatin from 39, Tristan Gondy, and the 47 car, Felipe Nasr in the Cettelard Villorba Corsa machine, with a brand new paint job for that car as well. Felipe back with the squad that he raced with at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, Roberto Lecorte and Giorgio Sernagiotto. Wasn't it great to actually get those guys in the race after a massive crash during one of the qualifying sessions into the first chicane? Over the line goes the 26 car and down towards turn number 1. Just a bit further up the road is the Paul Ricard winning team, the Racing Engineering squad, number 24. And I don't think that's anything to be concerned about. The 26 car working its way around the lap with some great super slow-mo footage around the Red Bull Ring this weekend.
Chatin has not improved his next time around, but 2 men that have, Loic Duval in the number 33 TDS Racing car, goes round at 120.112, less than a tenth off that provisional pole. And just on the other side of that, Duquesne Engineering, another team in real form in the LMS this year, the number 29 Orica in the hands of Nicolas Jamin, a 120.177. The top 3 separated by 0.15 of a second.
But it's all Oricas so far, and the next best car is a Dallara AVF by Adrian Faes, which is driven by Konstantin Tereshenko. There was a car then that got a lap deleted, though.
33.
The 33
that
got its second lap deleted.
It was Duval.
In the TDS Racing Orica 07. So the Mathieu Vazevière, Francois Perrodo, Loic Duval car. Duval, the 36-year-old Frenchman, who is of platinum grade, of course. He has his lap deleted, but there'll be plenty more where that came from. And as Norman Nato now goes fastest in the red and yellow Racing Engineering car.
Followed through rapidly by Nico Lapierre and Andrea Pizzitola. Nico Jamin rather goes to the top of timing and scoring. It's happening fast and furious fashion. 4 minutes to go. 119.2 for Jamin. It's a 119.3 for Nato, a 119.4 for Nico Lapierre, and a 119.9 for Pizzitola. They're your new 1, 2, 3, 4. All Oricas. It is Duquesne from Racing Engineering, Dragon Speed and G-Drive.
Paul-Luc Chatin maybe thinks that's the best he can do, though, because he's pitted the car and he's only now 5th fastest, formerly on pole position. Only about 2 minutes ago was the 28 car from EDEX Sport fastest.
Felipe Albuquerque, he improves his time. He's 6th. G-Drive in the hands of James Allen. That is the Graf car, the one with the carbon, all-carbon nose after the incident this morning, the 40 car. He is in 7th. So Jamin from Nato, Lapierre and Pizzitola. Jamin is going quicker again.
And of the top 6, 5 are still circulating. Philippe Albuquerque maybe yet to show his full potential. That car, a Ligier from United Autosports. And Ligier, as a manufacturer, will be desperate to try and get one of their cars into the top 5 if possible. They've only got 3 minutes, though, in order to do it. It's Aussie James Allen in 7th position for G-Drive Racing, the 40 car, so the Graf Run G-Drive machine. As very sideways indeed is the number 30 car, heading into Rauch corner, turn number 4. And that really unsettles the rear deck on car 30 for Konstantin Tereshchenko.
Nico Jamin improved in the first 2 sectors, but not in the 3rd. No improvement for him. He's going to be fending off the closer tensions in timing terms, at least, of Norman Nato. They, by the way, the 2 cars go through the first sector on this current lap with 2.5 minutes to go, with identical sector times to the Southlands. Excuse me, 20.290 for both the top 2 cars. Still Jamin from Nato, Lapierre, Duval, Pizzitola, James Allen. And Paul-Luc Chatin is leaving the pits and will get another crack at this. Norman Nato goes purple in the 2nd sector.
The top 8 are now Oreca 07s. Remember, all of these cars in LMP2 powered by identical Gibson 4.2 litre V8 engines, so we don't get the variety of engine manufacturers you might in the LMP1 category in the World Endurance Championship. But that does mean that everybody is really reliant on the drivers behind the wheel and on the shape of the car, as Norman Nato reaches the right-hander at OMV, the 30 car off the road, and that's the same incident, I reckon, the back end of the incident at Rauch corner. And then a bit further round after turn 4, Tereshchenko finally finds a safe place to rejoin the track in his Dallara. Still the best of the Italian machines, by the way, 10th fastest for Tereshchenko. He's behind Philippe Albuquerque, who must have had at least one of his laps deleted. Albuquerque was further up the order when I last checked.
And Nato's had a lap deleted as well, by the look of things. That's a lap on which he looked set to improve. Don't think was going to be quite good enough for pole, and doesn't count in any case. Pizzitola worth a look. He's gone quicker at each of the sectors. Albuquerque in 6th position with a great lap last time around, his best of the Ligiers.
60 seconds to go, and it is Nicolas Jamin for Duquesne Engineering, and their Oreca fastest. Philippe Albuquerque has found a bit more time, so car 22 for United Autosports now goes 6th fastest, behind 5 Orecas. And there are 3 more stacked up behind him as well. James Allen, Paul-Luc Chatin and Tristan Gomendy for G-Drive, EDEX Sport and Graf respectively.
Late addition to the session, by the way, from Ryan Cullen in the APR Rebellion 31 car. Props up the order, some little way back at the moment, but improving on this lap, as is Nico Jamin. Personal best times in the first 2 sectors. He goes through, doesn't improve again.
Duquesne lead Racing Engineering, 0.122 of a second is the gap. Somebody else who could be on the move is Paul-Luc Chatin. Indeed, he goes 4th fastest now for EDEX Sports number 28 car.
But he gets another lap in. So with 3 seconds, 2, 1 and the checkered flag, Paul-Luc Chatin is going to be a man to watch on this final flying lap, as a couple of the teams are already bailing out this session. Loic Duval has pitted the number 33 car, taking the checkered flag already. Settle Valor Corsa and S&P Racing in 10th and 11th position at the moment, respectively. Watching Paul-Luc Chatin's time, he's improved his Sector 1, his personal best Sector 1 time on that lap. United Autosports and Felipe Albuquerque, he pits from 7th, he'd do no better than that. The AVF car, we saw off the circuit a little wee while, has completed its run 13th. But of the leading runners, it's Paul-Luc Chatin that looks to be the man most likely to improve on this final lap, Johnny Palmer.
You also mentioned the tyre battle. Well, 3 of the top 4 are Michelin Chaude. The only Dunlop runner there, Racing Engineering, 2nd fastest for Norman Nato and the rest of his team, Olivier Pla and Paul Petit. Can anybody pip to the post? This time set by Nicolas Jamin, just 22 years old, of France. Gold-graded driver. He's sharing his car with Pierre Rag and Nelson Panciatici.
Chatin is the only man capable of doing this. Is he going to do it? He does! He goes to pole. 28 in the final moments of the session. Only 2 more cars to complete the lap. And Paul-Luc Chatin completes the lap in the 28 IDEC Sport Oreca on the Michelin tyres and takes pole position, their 2nd consecutive pole of the year, after doing the same at the Le Mans 24 Hours just last month.
Well, talk about leaving it late. We saw a similar situation in the Michelin Le Mans Cup earlier on with Jens Pettersson not getting pole but going up to 2nd place in the dying stages on the final lap. And Paul-Luc Chatin has done exactly the same thing for IDEC Sport, who have started this year so well. And it is backslapping and high fives all in for every member of the crew down at IDEC Sport. They got 2 cars here this weekend, remember, but it's the concentration is definitely on the number 28 machine, which is currently 5th in the championship. There is the celebration in the background. And car 28 for IDEC Sport, 5th in the championship, with their 2nd pole of the year, having been quickest on the Saturday at Le Castellet. Paul Ricard as well, so that's another point, an all-important point it could well be at the end of the year to the championship tally.
And another little factet from the press room, and with thanks to Matt Fernandez, the Oreca 07 now becomes the the equal leader in the number of ELMS pole positions set, going back to 2012 alongside the Zytek, the Z11 SN. So even Stevens at the moment, but the Zytek will not improve that total. Methinks the Oreca will.
Yes, 2012 was the first season when it was labelled the European Le Mans Series. I mean, the origins of this championship can be traced back as far, I think 2004, when it was the Le Mans Series, but that championship contained LMP1s as well. 2012 was the first year where LMP2 was the top category.
Yep.
And 12 really did struggle, and many of us thought that might be the end of the championship, to be honest, but look at it now. 42 cars entered for the latest round in 2018.
I should tell you, by the way, there's a lot of exciting news to come out of this paddock. I'll let you go with the rundown first, Johnny.
Okay, 1:19.246 then is the pole time here at Red Bull Ring. That's even faster than last year, because I have a feeling Leo Russell did a 1:20, so we've been getting progressively quicker every year. And car 28, IDEC Sport and Oreca fastest by 19/1000th of a second. Duquesne Engineering pipped to the post, and Nicolas Jamin, I feel for him a little bit. The 24 car was 3rd fastest, Racing Engineering's Oreca, with Norman Nato doing the qualifying ahead of Nicolas Lapierre for Dragon Speed, and Andrea Pizzitola, co-championship leader for G-Drive. Loic Duval, 33, was 6th fastest. The 22 United Autosports Ligier, and the best Ligier was driven by Philippe Albuquerque. His time of 1:19.950 ahead of the G-Drive James Allen Oreca. And then 2 more Orecas to complete the top 10. No, 1 more Oreca, Anna Delara, I beg your pardon. Tristan Gomondi's Graf example, and Felipe Nasser for Villorba Corsa in car 47.
Yeah, it's in its pomp, this series at the moment. I was about to say when the order came up there, Johnny, lots of exciting news to come from a number of the teams in this series about what their plans are later this year and into next year, whether or not it's new machinery, expanded efforts, stepping up in a class. There's lots to come from the European Le Mans Series. It's been a corking year so far, and we're not even halfway there.
No, we're not, absolutely. And obviously there's been a slight shuffle in the order of events. 2018 from 2017, with Silverstone falling later in the year. That's also a World Endurance Championship round as well, over the weekend of the 17th, 18th and 19th of August. And after round 4, we then head to Spa in Belgium, to Spa-Francorchamps, another fabulous circuit steeped in history. And we end our year in the new home for the ELMS in Portugal, which continues to be Portimao, to the south of the country. And Ferrari certainly starting now to take the fight to Porsche. If their pace in qualifying is anything to go by, good to see a Ferrari take a first pole for 2018. So tricky to predict what was going to happen in LMP3, and eventually working his way to the pointy end of the field, Mikkel Jensen of Denmark, just 23 years old, actually feeling like he didn't reach his full potential, but it was good enough to be faster than the other 17 cars in the class. Mathieu Lehay just pushed things a bit too hard on what would have been his final run around this lap and spun the car at the first corner, so that left Mikkel Jensen to sit on pole position for tomorrow's race, joined by his two Belarusian teammates, Alexander Talkanitsa Jr. and Senior, although they now live in Vienna, so this is very much a home race for those two guys. And the rest of the LMP2 action, well, it started with drama, with the high-class racing Dallara losing a wheel coming out of the pit lane, but Hedek Sport, top of the shop, Paul-Luc Chatin doing the time. He's now down in the pit lane with Charlie George.
Paul-Luc, congratulations, the second pole position of the season for Hedek Sport.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's our second pole position in LMS and third pole position of the year, because we got the pole position of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So yeah, I'm just really happy. The car is fantastic. The team did a really great job. You know, we have the perfect combo with the Recaro 7 on the Michelin. So I'm really happy for me, but most for the team, because they are amazing and they give me always the best cars possible.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
The grid is perfectly set then for tomorrow's third race of the year in the 2018 European Le Mans Series. My thanks to Graham Goodwin of dailysportscar.com. Be sure to join Graham and myself, Johnny Palmer, tomorrow for the race, the latest round in the ELMS. Bye-bye.